brought to that run that you guys got in there those next 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about KG. The energy stands out for sure. You talked about Cobra striking all the time. Kiss him in the lips with your helmet. He had a few of those phrases that were pretty funny that stuck with you. Just a great personality around the facility. Like I said on Pat's show, he's a great human. Enjoyed immensely the time we got to spend together. I do remember those times in the pre-practice, watching him throw with Flynn, just with a lot of laughs, a lot of good nostalgia in those moments. Obviously, the mic'd up of him talking with Clay on the sidelines of during it was a changeover or a timeout in the third or fourth quarter there. It was pretty awesome before, we had forced fumble in the recovery there, which was a big play in the Super Bowl. I enjoyed my time with Kev. He's, a super guy. I remember, being at his, the ceremony when he went to the hall finally. Obviously he probably should have been in many years before he went in, but sad day for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, for guys who played for him, who got to be on the squads he was coaching on, and obviously for his family.
Jason Wilde.
Aaron, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm fine, Jay.
Your old pal Homer put in a request for me to ask you something, so I hope you don't mind. He wonders if what happened against Carolina can turn out to be a really big positive for you guys because there's so much you can learn from that game. Would you agree with that premise? And then, if I may ask, what do you learn about making sure that 17 is involved at a really high level in your offensive game plan from that game?
Yeah, look, I think that's always a coach's dream, to win a game and to have a ton of things you can harp on. As much fun as it is to have those near perfect games where you're smoking from the get-go and finishing strong, I think a coach is always worried about, the complacency factor. That's coach speak. A guy's going to be complacent after they had a great game. I think a lot of that's just, like I said, a lot of that's coach talk. And I think the most important thing is to be critical of all the elements of what happened on Saturday, and then we got to improve in a few areas. 17 is so dynamic to what we do on offense. He's going to be the focus, I think, of a lot of teams' plan each week. So we just got to keep finding ways to move around and get him involved. Same time, 33 had a really big game, was going from the start. And if they're going to, if we're going to control the line of scrimmage like we did, and they're going to give us those running holes, we just got to keep sticking with it. And if they want to, die a slow death, giving up, chunks on the ground, we just got to keep with it. And, when you win, that's really all that matters in this league. If there's some sort of silver lining of holding, my numbers and 17's numbers down, I just don't think that's the way a competitor looks at a game.
MK Burgess.
Aaron, do you have me?
Yes.
Okay. As someone who just loves the game of football and as a competitor, when you look at Derrick Henry, what do you see, and what is it about him that makes him so good at the game?
He's blessed with excellent size to start. I think we've all seen, really since college, and he's been on the national stage playing, the second best conference in the entire college football after the College of Champions, as my good friend Bill Walton always says, the Pac-12 as it is now. But so he was, obviously in the spotlight for a long time. Enjoyed watching him play, as I have with many of the backs from Alabama. We had one of them, Eddie Lacy, here for a while, and they're all similar, I think, in their approach. There's a great professionalism about them. Talent-wise, the play that jumps out, I think, for everybody is the 99-yard run when he just kind of ran through the entire Jaguar defense. He displayed a lot of things on that one run, the speed that he has, which is home run speed. He's a tremendous sized human, So he has the ability to bounce off tackles well. He's got a great step on. He basically does it all. He's had a great year. And yeah, we're gonna have to slow him down. I think he's the focus of that offense. I mean, obviously Ryan's had a great season, had a great couple of years for him. And they got a number of weapons, but he's a big part of what they do.
Rob Domofsky.
Hey, Aaron, why has this worked out so well with Matt, and why has he been such a good hire?
Oh, Rob, that's such a media question right there.
I mean, hey, you wanted positivity. What's more positive than a coach who's 24-6?
You know what? I think you should ask that to the upper ups. I didn't have anything to do with that decision. I'm happy he's here. We've had a great time together. We've been laughing all the way to the NFC Championship last year and back in the playoffs this year about any question about our working relationship. It's been a lot of fun working together. I think he's put together a fantastic staff. A lot of times the head coach gets, maybe too much credit and definitely too much blame, for ones who haven't been winning. A lot of that is, on who he brings in, the type of culture that person creates, the accountability he holds his assistant coaches to, the freedom that he allows the assistant coaches to have. And I think it's been a good blend of all those things with him and his staff. He's got the right guys on offense and allow Mike and his staff on defense to do what they do, and Sean and his boys on teams. But it's been fun on offense. He's got a great group of teachers, and I enjoyed the working relationship, enjoyed the friendship, enjoyed the communication, and had a good run so far.
Matt Schneidman.
Aaron, I don't know if Jamal's going to play this week. I guess that's those hypotheticals that you love. But how have you seen AJ kind of work back in after missing so much time? And where's your trust level at with him right now?
Yeah, I think we were all wondering if he was when he was going to come back, and a little startled a couple weeks ago when he got back on the practice field. It was kind of just didn't expect it, but it was fun to see him back out there. I think he got himself into shape and had a nice run in the game and on his one opportunity. It's all mental for the young guys. It's just the understanding of the offense and the responsibilities. Running back, there's a lot put on those guys. They play a number of different roles in this offense. Getting the ball, lead blocking sometimes, pass protection, route running. I think he's done a nice job. I like, obviously, I'm a big Jamal Williams fan, not just his play, but his energy and the person that he is. So if he can't go, obviously, AJ's gonna have to step up. I feel good. Just the communication with him and myself in practice, breaking the huddle. There's an expectation of conversation that occurs for a split second between myself and the backs, when just kind of everybody takes their spot on line of scrimmage. And he's been really sharp with his responsibilities and his understanding. So I feel good about him being back there, however many plays it might be.
Mark Daniels.
Hey, Aaron, I know the Carolina corrections are already over and done with and everything, but can you kind of take me through the corrective process, why you guys are able to apply that, haven't lost back-to-back, rarely two, even as you called it, stinky second halves in a row with this team? Why is that?
Well, as hard as it is to be great every single week, when the expectation is so high and the preparation is what it is, I think it's kind of hard to suck back-to-back weeks as well. So we just haven't really done that over the last, good bit. A lot of it is the way that we prepare, the way we correct. I think self-scouting is such an important part of the process. We've done a good job of keeping the focus on what it needs to be, and at the same time, being as critical as we need to be with certain guys and taking feelings out of it and not letting people be victims or sensitive about certain things, myself included. I think it starts with having open conversation about your own play and what you need to improve on, and not taking things personal if you feel like people are attacking you. It's that whole entitlement / victim mentality that we've really tried to get out of the locker room and get out of the offensive room. And I think we've done a good job of guys holding each other accountable. And it helps when you have the type of leadership that we do, because there's just no room for, the sensitive feelings. It's a professional environment, not a personal environment. When guys say something to you, they're saying it because they care about winning. And I think if it starts with your own performance, then it's not a projection. It's guys holding each other accountable. And I think we've done a good job of that. Matt's done a good job of kind of creating the framework for that culture, and Hackett and the assistant coaches done a good job of just calling things what they are. And it trickles down to the players.
Bill Huber.
Hey, Aaron. I know, Matt, and I think maybe even you mentioned it too, being patient on offense. Is that difficult to be patient when your offense has just been so explosive just about every game? And B, is it hard to be patient when you're facing the number one scoring team in football and you guys are number 2?
2 or 3?
3, yeah, you're 3 by 2 points. So
Yeah,
yes,
by
3 by 2 points.
Yeah, thank you. I did see that. Yeah, I don't know, Bill. I mean, I think every game we approach it, we want to outscore the opponent. We trust our defense, but we really want to score every time we get it. I think there's been games where we've been close to that. We've really gotten on a roll. It just comes down to us, and in our performance. And a lot of times we're our biggest enemy. We're getting in our own way of, whether it's missed assignments or mental errors, bad throw or route that wasn't right, or missing the cut on the hole. I just feel like there's a lot of correctable things from the film, and that's kind of the approach that we take. It's not a disrespect to the opponent. We have a ton of respect for every team we play, but we just feel like our execution level, we have a standard that's set, and we feel like when we hit that standard, we're able to do some good things on offense. Like Mike Sherman said, my rookie year, that side of the ball gets paid too, and there's some great players on that side of the ball this week. So it's nothing against those guys, but it just comes down to execution on our side to get ourselves in position to be efficient. And I think, the way we started last week, we were 4 for 4 on 3rd down, and we scored in the red zone. And then obviously we were 1 for 8 after that, and that hurt us. Couldn't keep drives going. We sputtered out of the gate in the second half. And, we just tightened up some things. I think we should be back to knowing what we need to do. And, we know we're playing against their defense, but we know how talented their offense is. And we got to start fast. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere type game.
Aaron Nagler.
Aaron, it seems every year this time of year, I get asked about recommendations for football books because it's the Christmas season. People are filling their stocking stuffers at the last minute. I'm a nobody. What is a 2-time MVP in line for his 3rd MVP quarterback? Do you have any favorite football books that you can recommend to people?
Yeah, The Alchemist. It's a great football book. I read The Art and Magic of Quarterbacking, which was a book that Joe Montana co-wrote. And I got this back in maybe 95-ish. And I remember being so pumped because I was a big Joe fan and reading stories in there about Bill Walsh and the West Coast offense. And I definitely enjoyed that book. I don't read a lot of sports-related books. I'd like to read a lot of history-related books, some historical fiction, but a lot of nonfiction history-related stuff. The Alchemist is obviously a fictional book, but a great story about perspective, about inner strength, about a journey. It's a hero's journey type book. That's always my recommendation. The book's been around forever. It's a book that I like to reread every couple of years. Sorry, I don't have a better football recommendation. The Art and Magic of Quarterbacking, I can't say it's a very thick book. It's more of a quick read I was 11 at the time, and it
More
was
of a pamphlet. Gotcha.
Yeah, well, it's a little more than a pamphlet, less than a tome.
Thank you.
Mike Spofford.
Aaron, just wondering, as a guy who's been picked for the Pro Bowl for the 9th time, what your thoughts on guys like Elton and Jair making it for the first time? And not to get greedy when you get 7 on the list, but any personal disappointment for guys like Corey and Bobby who seem to be deserving?
Yeah, I think Mike more than seemed to be deserving. Probably should have been on there. I didn't see who was the tight ends that were picked. Hockenstein, I believe.
And Evan Ingram from the Giants. Yeah.
Both really good players. But I believe that Bobby's right up there with tight end touchdowns. Yeah, with Kelsey, Kelsey's had an amazing season, but he's on the other side. So, I was surprised about Elton, and I said this on Pat, or I don't know if I said on Pat or not, but most times guys don't get in when they deserve to get in. They get in maybe a year after they deserve to get in. But what Elton's done is definitely Pro Bowl worthy. He's had a really good season. Corey has been amazing, and I know you've been hurt the last 3 weeks. For guys like that, I think one thing that gets lost, and in the NBA, this is a big part of it with the all NBA teams, but, I think the Pro Bowl a lot of times can turn into a popularity contest at certain positions. And it can potentially hurt salary negotiations. So that I feel bad for guys like Corey in their contract year when he's had such a fantastic season. I hope it doesn't affect that. But I am proud to be selected again. If there were to be a game, and in the unlikely event wouldn't be playing, I'm not sure that I would end up going. But I do feel honored to be back, picked on the squad. I'm really, really proud of Aaron Jones, getting in for the first time. There's something special about the first time. I remember my first time game wasn't even in Hawaii. It was, in Miami, and we stayed in Fort Lauderdale and had a blast. Clay was down there, brought some friends down there. We had so much fun. There was a lot of fun around that, but something special about the first time. Elton's first time, Jair's first time. He's had a fantastic year. Z getting in outright, not being an alternate, was awesome for him. David, obviously, has been so fantastic for us. So really happy for those guys. And, Bobby should be in. Corey had a fantastic year as well.
Tim Van Born.
Aaron, I wanted to follow up on your comment earlier. You said it comes down to us. We often hear that from you guys, something like that. Obviously, team sports it's not golf though. There is an opponent against you. How do you process kind of the resistance that you're going against while still saying it comes down to us and what you can control?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one too many cliches for a sentence for me that I like. So, Tim, I think what I'm basically trying to say is that I think an important part of the preparation and the closure from the previous week, the debrief part of it, is being very critical of your performance. I think it's been a big part of our success, being able to identify what didn't go right, leaving latitude for a defensive player who's getting paid to make plays, and you expect them to make some plays. But on the plays where we just outright hurt ourselves, that's really what I'm focusing on when I say that it is about us. The critical analysis of our play, I think, is important to look at. And there are just too many plays against Carolina where it wasn't necessarily that a guy made a great play on defense. It was that we missed the identification, or I missed a hot, or whatever it might be. I think that's really more what I'm talking about. I think there's a fine line between being overly critical and being realistic, and I think we walk that pretty well.
We have time for one more. Jason Wilde.
Hey, Aaron, my saltiness about your Tuesday schedule notwithstanding, you did make a comment on there about negativity versus positivity. I would appreciate it if you would be clear about which parts of the media you have issues with and which ones you don't, but be that as it may. I'm wondering, have you taken
about you? Is that what you want to hear? I'm not talking about you.
Not me specific, not me specifically. No, I would say with beat writers versus, say, hot take artists on television would be my issue. But that wasn't my question. My question is this: have you taken a decidedly more positive approach this year, do you think, and eliminated negativity, whether it's in interactions over mistakes where you still have to be tough on a guy, but maybe you take a different approach, or, savoring things, whatever it might be? Have you been more positive and less negative this year than in past years?
Probably. I think you'd have to ask some of the guys. But I'm just, I think, happier in general. So life has a different glow to it for me. And so I think naturally it makes you a little happier, a little kinder. To reframe what I was saying, you all in this room have a job to do, and I respect it. I appreciate it. I understand it. I don't take offense to anything that's written. And I don't necessarily need the cortisol boost if there's, good things said about me. I'm more talking about, I think, a shift in general where there's so much impetus put on a title for an article or a snippet of a TV show to garner attention. I just think that some of the integrity in the journalism gets taken out of there. And I think anybody in here who has that journalistic integrity and got into the business to tell stories and tell them the right way and use the truth probably sides somewhere close to
Sure.
some of the things I'm saying. And I just think it's important to remind people that it's okay to be positive and spread love and tell good stories. And I think what Pat said was interesting about how that is a little bit harder sometimes. It's easier to maybe rip somebody or take a stance that's so, out there that's going to garner attention. So I do salute, I salute the stories where you're telling stories about our guys off the field. It's fun to see the little package put together for Corey and what Corey does with Casa. We talked, around in the locker room the other day about just that kind of work and how important that is. If you just change in one person's life, the domino ripple effect that can happen. So, telling stories like that, I think are good for everybody. I understand there has to be, criticism and critiques, and that's part of the job. But I think there's